Good morning. My name is Jay Maller, and I'm the CEO and founder of EcoMail. And joining me on stage this morning is Roy Spinelli, our Chief Revenue Officer. This morning, we're going to show you how EcoMail solves one of the largest remaining legacy systems, physical mail, in a way that makes financial institutions stronger and more nimble in today's digital environment. EcoMail is a digital post office. We are not a digital mailbox. We distribute all mail, both B2C and B2B mail. Our ecosystem, both directly and indirectly, distributes important content that you, as a financial institution, can use to strengthen your relationships with your customers, while at the same time dramatically lowering your operating costs and increasing your margins. We do this with two products built on top of our digital post office platform. EMX Consumer, which is for B2C mail you send out to your customers, and EMX Enterprise for B2B mail being used by your organization. Let's start by talking about EMX Consumer. First, there are still 60 billion pieces of first-class mail being sent every year. Digital adoption has stalled at 18 to 25%, and the largest banks are still sending more than 1 billion pieces of first-class mail every year. So obviously, this is still a large problem. What you see here on the screen is Roy has signed into his bank. He's decided to get his mail at Finovate Bank, right? A destination that he already knows, uses, and trusts. What you're looking at is his inbox. He can scroll through. Each piece of mail is represented as a digital ribbon. So we're going to scroll through, and Roy, why don't you decide you want to look at that piece of mail from Verizon? So if we want to see the detail, we simply press on the ribbon. By the way, that little circle, it was literally decrypting it as he decided to go look at it. So he takes a look at his bill, looks okay, he wants to pay it. So Roy, if you hit pay, great, okay. Now, we've got all of the metadata about this bill. He can pay the full amount, the minimum amount, or a different amount. He can pay it today, he can pay it on the due date, or again, any other date. He could pay it with any source that he's tied, including if the vendor allows credit accounts, Okay, so Roy, just go ahead and pay this one if you would. Perfect, now paid. Okay, so it's in our inbox, we've looked at it, we've paid it, now we got to get it out of that inbox and file it. So we're just going to press archive, and we can multi-index because it's digital, but we're going to put this one into utility. Great, say done. Okay, and now we can just open up our digital file cabinet. We set up whatever folders we want, but if we just go look in utility, we see there's that Verizon bill. Great. If we go back to the inbox for a second. So one thing that's very important to mailers is, of course, they want to save all that money on their postage, printing, distribution, but they also want to be able to advertise to their existing customer base. So what we've done is we've added something called digital white space. So if you just press on American Express, get double membership, right, we're able to take the user directly to any destination chosen by the mailer and hand the credentials off to say this is who's been there. This can be hyper-localized, right, as you get down to knowing who's responding to what. Great. Last thing, quickly, payments. The other thing that's very interesting is that you've got a unified register, no longer a check register. Remember that we said you could make credit payments. So now you can see, here are all the things that need to be paid, but if we look at scheduled, great, and expand in the upper right-hand corner, we can now see every bill we've paid and every source we've paid it from. Digital post offices are the future. EMX Consumer is the only solution that actually satisfies and creates value for all participants in the mail process: consumers, mailers, and payment processors. For mailers, what do they get? Much lower cost and a way to advertise to their existing customer base. For payment processors, they get an expanded digital footprint, better customer retention, much lower payment processing costs, and new streams of revenue. And for the consumer, finally, they get life simplification. All of their mail at a single destination, but one they already know, use, and trust. Great. Let's switch now and talk for just a minute, we're running out of time, about EMX Enterprise, our solution for B2B mail. a digital post office that replaced the US Post Office is pretty obvious. What's a little less obvious is that every major financial institution, every large enterprise has actually built a private post office into their organization. And they're just as inefficient as the US Post Office. So what does EMX Enterprise do? We digitize your mail. Actually, we take your physical mail and we turn it into a digital asset right at the front door. Okay. Not a pretty technology, but a workhorse that solves a very real problem that's very expensive. We're currently deploying this product at one of the 3 largest banks in the United States. They happen to be headquartered here in New York. But at this bank, they still receive 40 to 50 million pieces of non-reply mail every year. About 70% of that mail is transactional, meaning that eventually it gets its way into a workflow. We've calculated with the bank that they will save about $1.20 per piece of transactional mail. If you do the math, that works out to $35 to $40 million a year in savings. How do we do it? We efficiently digitize content. We eliminate sorting, distribution, inter-office mail, right? And we allow work to be moved anywhere in the world in just a second, so least cost routing. Great, thank you very much. If you'd like to hear more about this, we'd love to talk to you. Please come and see us at our booth. Thank you.